Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna V Astrology,
Hello, I'm Linda from Scullywag Astrology.
and today we are going to be talking about the new moon in Libra, as well as the moon mansion and a crystal.
Mhm. Excellent. And the new moon is going to be at 2 degrees and 48 minutes of Libra. So I'll just bring up the chart. So, Donna, do you want to tell us about the moon mansion?
Okay, the moon mansion, it's the 15th moon mansion, and it is good for digging wells for water or oil. I'm not sure which one. Making canals, so that would be lead to water. Um, it's good for healing. It's good for healing airborne illnesses, and infirmities like allergies and stuff like that. It's good for to move if it's for financial gain.
Oh, okay.
And yep, it's also good for hiring people. It is not good for marriage. It is not good for loaning money. Like if you want expect to have it in return, it's not good for that. It's not good for buying land or a water journey, and it's not good to do anything with your hair, like cut it or dye it or anything that would be permanent.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
interesting.
but if you wait a day and the moon will be will have moved on. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not that
Interesting.
you can try some things on other days if those are not working for you.
Yeah, so the new moon at 2 degrees of Libra, that retrograde Mercury is quite close to it, though it's out of sign. It's in Virgo. But yeah, Venus is very close to that new moon too. Not very close, but I mean within 7 degrees. So
Yeah, the only thing that seems to be really in aspect with it directly is that Jupiter.
yeah, opposite, yeah, which is also retrograde. So interesting.
Things haven't been wonky for you yet.
Yeah.
It could be
New moons are about new beginnings, planting seeds. So yeah.
starting things. Yeah, getting good
Mm,
intentions, getting new intentions, bringing
yeah.
new things into your life. Yeah, it's really good energy, especially it's the fall in the northern climates. It's this, the start of that. It is also the beginning of a Libra ingress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Libra ingress hasn't happened about 2 days prior to this.
Yeah. On the 22nd. Yeah.
Yeah, so new
Yeah.
beginnings.
New beginnings. That retrograde Mercury trine Pluto, quite transformative thinking, could be interesting. Could be a few missteps though with it so close to the sun that it's burnt up and it's also retrograde. But it is in Virgo, so quite analytical. And we've got Mars and Saturn in a trine, so able to work together. And Saturn in the superior condition, it comes earlier, so it gets to lay down the rules. So yeah,
Yes. Mm.
that Saturn Uranus, it isn't going to. I don't know if it is actually going to be exact this year. I think it might get close, maybe in December.
Right. I don't think it's going to form
Exact.
an exact square.
Mm, mm.
We're done with that. It's whew. We can be done with that.
Yeah, mind you, it's pretty close there. It's
Oh
less
yeah.
than 2 degrees away. It's just over 1 degree apart. So kind of a bit of
It
tension
would
there
count in
between
horseshoes.
you. Yeah.
It's close enough and it would count for horseshoes. If you're playing horseshoes, it's within it's within pointing range. It's within, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
taking notice range.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, we might have a look at the
No,
do the horoscopes for it. We recommend that you read your ascendant sign rather than your sun or moon sign. And if you don't understand why exactly that is a good idea. We've got a video that we did, and we'll link to that here. It's on our YouTube channel. And without further ado, Donna, do you want to tell us about Libra?
Sure. If Libra is your ascendant, where you're going to be starting things that pertain to you as an individual. So it's going to be your new hairstyle. It's going to be your class that you've taken. It's going to be things that you started. And within Libra, you already know you're a social person. So things will probably revolve around the new beginnings in the social circles or things that you'd be doing.
Very good. And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this new moon is happening in your second house. And the second house is the house of our income, resources, and our personal finances. So you may be working on a new form of income. Maybe you're taking on a second job or a different job. Maybe you're starting a new savings plan, or, working towards buying a purchase, some resource that might be useful to you.
And then if you are a Leo rising, this is going to be happening in your third house. And the third house, you're going to have the new beginnings in your social circles. It's your community in your or elementary schools. The younger the earlier schools, not the higher education, but the elementary schools. And let's see what else. It could have something to do with your extended family, cousins, aunts, and uncles. Maybe new things are happening in that area of your life
Yeah,
if you are
totally.
a Leo rising.
And if you are a Cancer rising, this new moon is happening in your fourth house. And the fourth house is the house of our family, our parents in particular. It's also our home and living situation and real estate matters. So it could be something pertaining to your parents. Maybe they're doing something new, maybe setting out on some new adventure. Or it could be you're signing a lease to a new place. Maybe you're signing, documents to, sell a house or buy a house. Yeah, so something along those lines.
If you are a Gemini, this is going to be happening in your fifth house. And that's going to be your house of creativity or your children. It might have something to do with things that you do for fun, like concerts and that type of thing. But you'll be starting these new things with this aspect.
Certainly will. Nice house, the fifth house. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. And the sixth house is the house of illness, daily routines. It is also pets and those that work for us. It's also the house of service or service to others. So this could be something to do with a pet, could be you're getting a new pet, or it could be something to do with illness, perhaps, something crops up that needs to be addressed at this time. It could be a new employee or somebody that you work with. It could be somebody starting a career or profession that's of service to others, such as in the military or doctors, nurses, firefighters, that sort of thing. Yeah, so new beginnings, new starts, new intentions to do with those topics.
A lot of good things can happen in the sixth.
Mhm.
It's gotten a bad rap, but sometimes good things can happen. And if you are an Aries rising, this new moon's going to happen in your seventh house, and that's the house that's on the one-on-one type of relationships that you have in your life. So it could be either, with a friend or a significant other. It could also be with a doctor or somebody we might have an appointment with, or you might have to make an appointment with. That's the type of new beginnings that you could experience with this transit.
Certainly could. And if you are a Pisces ascendant, this new moon is happening in your eighth house. The eighth house is associated with other people's money, can be joint resources. It can include things like taxes, inheritances, joint finances, so loans, debts. It's also the partner's money, so the significant other's money, because it's the second house from the seventh. So there could be new beginnings, new starts. You might be, because the seventh house could also be like a business partner. So maybe you're going into business with somebody. So this is a time when you're kind of combining your finances to, build that business. Or it could be a young couple, move in together. They've got a joint bank account. This might be the time that something like that happens. Or it could be something like, this is a time when perhaps you're coming into an inheritance, but, this is the start of probate or something like that.
Very interesting. Lots of new things. And that's
Yeah.
that's the whole point of a new moon is, new things. So if you are Aquarius rising, this is going to happen in your ninth house. So this could be publishing, philosophy, it could be legal issues, it could be esoteric subjects as well that you might start, getting the astrology bug. Decide to take up some classes. But yeah, this would be the time for it, especially if you're an Aquarius rising.
And if you are a Capricorn rising, this new moon is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this could be a new project at work. This could be new bosses at work because the 10th house is also authority figures. So it could be a new boss. You could be moving into a new job or a new position in a job. And it's also the house of public reputation. So for whatever reason, maybe you're just getting more attention at this time. Maybe you're getting some sort of honor or reward, or maybe, you've just got more eyes on you at this time, or you're starting to work towards that. It might not be that this is a time where you are actually honored. That's more of a full moon thing, but perhaps you start something which later down the road you do receive that full moon recognition.
The 10th house is very, very visible.
It's very visible, yeah. Hard to hide there.
You are a Sagittarius rising. Yeah, this is going to happen in your 11th house. And it's your house of friends. It's what supports you. Because it's the 11th house, it's going up to that 10th house. It's rising to that 10th house. So that's everything that supports you. It's your friends, it's your groups, it's your hopes and dreams. It's those things that are supportive in your life would be starting out new. So you might join a group or, find a friend who's willing to help you with a project that you want to do.
Yeah, very nice house, the 11th.
It is.
It is. And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is a challenging house. It does tend to do with topics such as our undoing or our self-defeating habits, addictions. It's also places of retreat and rest. It can be hidden illnesses and that, hidden matters. So it could be new beginnings to do with those sorts of things, places of confinement such as prisons and hospitals. Hopefully, this is more a time when you're kind of taking time back, working behind the scenes, maybe just not being as visible. Donna was talking about how the 10th house is so visible. The 12th is a very hidden house, secret and hidden matters. So, yeah. But having said that, there are things like addictions and self-undoing. So if you find yourself kind of slipping in a way that you're not really comfortable with, maybe it's kind of, try to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Easier said than
Well,
done.
that's the whole purpose for doing this is if we can tell you ahead of time, what to watch out for or how to apply these energies. That's exactly why we're doing this. So
Mhm. And Donna, you have a crystal for us or a stone.
I do. I do. This is the crystal that I have brought is it's actually a jasper. You can hardly see it with it's green, okay? But it does have red dots on it. Um, this one might have a better. Oh yeah, you can see the red, the
Mhm.
red. dots that are
Yeah.
there in it. It's a jasper. This was believed to have been the blood of Christ that has
Oh.
dropped onto the stone. Um, it it resonates with the element of the earth. The the signs that it is affiliated with are Aries, Libra, which is one of the reasons why I picked it, and Pisces. The reason why I associate it with the Libra is because it offers balance. It offers auric field balance, and then when your auric field is balanced, then your physical body then can get balanced. Um, uh, it's known as a heliotrope in the Greek meaning was called the sun turner. Um, it's a 6.5 to a 7 Mohs hardness. So it's a pretty hard stone
Hmm.
for jewelry. It creates purification, well-being. Um, it will balance it will balance your hormones, and it's very good for um blockages as far as blood. If you've got blood things that are going on wrong, this is a great stone to use. If you have it also reduces inflammation a bit. It's my first aid stone. I would have a handful more, but my family seems to have taken them. um I'm gonna have to get them back uh for pictures, because right now all I can get is two. Um, but if I have like a stuffy nose, I'll put it right alongside my nose. This is why it's a hard stone to keep around, because it is my first aid stone. If you
Hmm.
have a blood issue, this is what I tell everybody to, put it on and hold it right on the injury. Um, so yeah, it's good for all the blood issues that you might have, as well as even for the blood issues of, if like you've got an injury or blood issues in manufacturing down in the marrow. So it's
Oh,
it's
wow.
a deep stone. It is probably my first or second. It's probably the first 10 stones I bought for sure, hands
Hmm.
down.
Interesting. Interesting.
It is what I consider my first aid stone.
Hmm.
And I
Interesting.
have about 10 of them, and I can only find two. So
It sounds
they're
like
around
keys in my
somewhere.
house.
Somewhere. Well, I put them out in baskets so that when people need them, they can have them.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
a
it's
really
good
good
that they're
stone. People
using
don't want
them.
to give them up. I'm sorry, what?
I said it's good that they're using them.
Yes, it is. It is.
Hmm. Oh,
So
very
yeah,
good.
yeah, I use it. I use it also. It's for the root chakra. Um, because it's got that blood,
Hmm.
that vitality that comes right from that root that you need to support life. So that's
Hmm.
it. I do use it a lot. My family does use it a lot as well. It's a great stone to have.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, because symbolism with the blood that would fit with Aries, and I couldn't work out the Pisces, but I suppose you were saying how it was supposed to have been from the blood of Jesus, so I suppose that's where the Pisces comes in. Interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
shall we
one of my
have a look?
favorites.
Yeah, yeah. Well, shall we have a look at the aspects for the rest of the
That
fortnight?
sounds like a great idea.
Let me
Although
just
I have to make
change.
a mention, as you're pulling this chart up, and we don't typically talk about this, but on this particular day, two, three, four, five, the moon will be making 6 aspects to planets on the 25th.
Oh,
That
really?
is a
Interesting.
that is a that is a lot of information coming on that Sunday. So
Wow.
just prepared to like deal with a lot of information or a lot of things going on. Your life might be a little bit more active on that day than it normally is.
Which reminds me, me and Donna have just started recording the weekly lunar aspects on the Wisdom app, and we did that on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, and I uploaded that
Look,
to
we're going to
the
try to do
YouTube
it every
channel.
Sunday.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Yes.
It's fun. Well, the moon is the closest planet. It with what filters all the other planets'
Mhm.
information to us. So, however that is aspecting our own charts is
Yeah,
is going to be impactful.
it certainly is. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so the first aspect we have on the 26th, and that's going to be Venus is going to trine Pluto.
Interesting.
And you were talking about that earlier. This could have a lot to do with barriers being lifted, power struggles of the Pluto Venus, kind of Persephone Hades.
Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe not as impactful because that Venus is still under the beams. She's still very much combust.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I'm just looking, Mercury doesn't trine Pluto till the 27th, the next day. But I mean, Venus and Mercury are so close at the time that it's kind of Pluto trining both of them, like as a combination. And like you said, both of them are under the beam, so they're not in the best condition. Plus Venus is not in great condition because she's in fall, and then Mercury's retrograde. So it will be interesting. Intensity, emotional, lots of communications. Yeah. Trines are usually helpful, but sometimes when it goes to the outers, it can be just a little bit not as pleasant. It can be just more effective way for Pluto to exert what it wants over Venus and Mercury. So it will be interesting. Just a day
Right.
after the new moon in Libra.
It seems like there's a lot of information.
Because that Mercury is retrograde, I have a feeling like this could be for a lot of people kind of cases of jealousy that needn't be based in reality. It's like you think something's happened, you think you saw something, or you think you heard something, and it's not actually correct. You've overreacted. That Pluto intensity kicks in, that's amping up that Venus and that Mercury. And then, oh, and then we've got Sun opposite Jupiter at the same time. Yeah, I just think there's a big potential for overreactions, and just, before you blow a fuse, perhaps maybe double check. It might be a good time to kind of give some people the benefit of the doubt. Ask first. Yeah, because that Jupiter's in Aries.
And Jupiter, that planet is that expansion, wanting to make things big, wanting to have the world view, wanting to,
It-
do all that big grand stuff. But in retrograde, it kind of all goes sideways sometimes. So
yeah.
that's the part that you have to remember is these planets want to do good, but when they are retrograde, something messes with their psyche where like, okay, well, I don't have to do what my job title describes me to do, and so I'm gonna do something different. That's kind of what a retrograde planet does. It's like, yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to do that. I was intending on doing that, but you know,
Yeah, because we've got this, Venus trine Pluto the same day as Sun opposite Jupiter, and then that's followed up by Mercury trine Pluto. I mean, I usually cut
miscommunication.
these videos up into individual little sections, and we're talking. I'm thinking, how am I going to cut these all up? I think I might just group them all in one big lump.
Or one 5-minute section, and let's move on.
So yeah,
Okay, so the next aspect, as you were talking about, is the Jupiter opposing the sun,
yeah,
and that is loss of vitality. It's loss of Even if even if Jupiter was not retrograde, if they were just in that aspect, it's still going to suck that life out,
Mm, mm.
or the
Yeah.
vitality out.
Well,
Not
this
not
is
as energetic on that project that you were hoping to do.
not as enthusiastic. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. This is about halfway through the Jupiter cycle. Jupiter cycle, the Jupiter retrograde, though I suppose that's halfway through the cycle too, but just lack of enthusiasm. You know, I suppose if you've had grand plans, which I can't think when Jupiter first went retrograde, I have a feeling it might have been back in April, actually. Let me have a quick look. Oh, July. Huh. So much for my my memory. But yeah, if you had things back in July that you were kind of all excited about and thought, oh yes, I can do this and do this and do this might be a time where you kind of like, oh, this is going to be so much harder, so much longer. You know, these people that I was counting on to help me aren't going to be around. You know, I don't have the money, this, that, whatever it is. It might be just a time where that lack of enthusiasm kind of comes to like, well, what do you do? Do you kind of drop it or do you kind of plow on?
Right. You're ready to move on to the 27th is the next aspect of Mercury trining Pluto. We mentioned on this, there might be a 20-minute segment that you might be doing. Just group all that Pluto, new moon, Venus all together. Yeah, so on the 27th is when Mercury trines Pluto exactly.
Mhm.
And that could bring out some hidden communications.
Yeah, certainly could.
Um,
Perhaps inadvertently, because I mean Mercury's retrograde, so you might not want it to come out, but it might be coming out anyway. Yeah.
Powers of persuasion could be a little bit better.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if Mercury wasn't retrograde, Mercury trine Pluto, I'd be thinking, yeah, that could be quite transformative thinking, maybe being really quite honest with yourself too, because Pluto's also about honesty and depth. So this, and
Yes.
in Mercury in Virgo, really likes getting down to the details, very analytical. But the fact that it's retrograde, still under the beams,
A little bit challenging.
it is a little bit challenging. Hopefully not too traumatic, but yeah, just perhaps you think you've like, oh my God, I finally got it. I understand what it is, but maybe you're just not quite there yet. Close, but no cigar.
It shouldn't be too, it shouldn't be too bad. Venus is present and she
Mhm.
is direct. She is in fall,
Mm.
um, but she is present. So it shouldn't be like devastating, but
No.
it could be challenging. And
Yeah.
not everything will go your way, I would suspect.
Yeah. I just, yeah. I really liked what you said first off about hidden things coming to light. And I just think with it being retrograde, it might be just like, oops. Didn't mean you to see that just yet, but here we are. And maybe that will be actually quite, maybe that will open up honest conversations and that's where the depth and intensity might come. Yeah.
That's where Pluto comes in.
Mm.
Yeah, Pluto might instigate you to say something wrong, and then somebody else might come back at you going, "Oh, let's discuss this.
Mhm.
This needs some further discussion." So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Pluto's all about is getting rid of what doesn't work for you anymore. And if that means pain, torture, and burning, then some that's what that Phoenix rising is you
Yeah.
sometimes you have to, burn all the way through that what isn't working to actually
Actually, yeah, that's
progress.
interesting because you were talking, because I've been messing around, kind of cutting up videos from the last episode, and we were talking about the Mercury Cazimi, and you were saying like it's burnt, and I think there's a word like burnt. Is it burnished? But yeah, kind of like the Cazimi, it's kind of burnt up. It's right in the heart of the sun, but like kind of everything else is burnt away. This is the essential nature. So yeah, I'm off on a tangent now. I don't know why I got on that tangent. But
Well,
yeah,
because Mercury,
oh,
because Pluto
yep, yep.
has you go in for the deep thing, and then Mercury being in retrograde, kind of whatever you want to say isn't coming out right, or it's not coming out right. It's coming out in a different angle, and
Mhm.
so it leads you to bring out what exactly needs to be said.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, Mercury's the one planet that could go between the underworld and the upper world. So yeah, so they should work fine together, hopefully. I don't think it'll be too traumatic. So
No, I think with Venus there, kind of holding down, everybody's
mhm.
emotional temperature, a little
Yeah.
cooling. That's what she's doing.
But I mean, like you were talking about Persephone and Pluto. So like there's your Venus, Pluto, and I have a feeling Mercury had something to do. Doesn't he escort her down there and back? I don't know.
Depends on what um of mythological. There's like a ton of stories. There's
Mm,
in from different cultures of this particular story of Persephone, and it, but it goes through in the Indian culture. There's a story that's in the African culture. There's a story in the Greek culture. There's a story. There's stories in many of the different cultures of that same exact story of being kidnapped, having your free will uh hindered,
hmm.
taken away, and then there's growth upon the earth. So all of those cultures did have a something about that.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they all these different cultures have the similar archetypes. Really interesting.
Yes, it is. It's very interesting on the same kind of story theme can go over many of the different cultures, and it's the same event that happened in the world, like the Great Flood. There's a Great Flood in how they explained it in Chinese or China, on India and all those other cultures of how they explained the Great Flood.
Yeah.
But it did happen. It just, how it was interpreted. But
Very
anyways,
good.
getting on. That was a way sideways thing.
But
Anyways, moving on. So that was the 27th. On the
yeah.
28th, we have, this is not going to be, I would figure out some way to do a project and get involved in a project that has a lot of structure to it, because the aspect that we're talking about is the trine between Saturn and Mars. Those are the two malefics. And when those two get to talking, it's you got the bad planet talking to the other bad planet, so they're not bad planets, they're challenging planets. So
They're not
the best
really
way to
bad.
put
They're
it.
just misunderstood. Uh,
Understood. They're challenging planets, but they're the planets
mm,
that give us the no's. They're the planets that go, uh, no, you need to think about what you're doing when you're cutting that tomato. You can't just go in there and be daydreaming and think that you're not going to cut yourself. Just like Saturn will tell you, did you follow the rules when you were building that building? Because if you don't have that bottom floor of a good structure, then the whole thing's going to fall down on you. So that's what Saturn brings. So they bring the good things, but it can be challenging if you don't want to do them.
yeah. Yeah, this is a really good aspect for hard work. You know, Mars is action, energy, drive. Saturn, it knows how to get the best out of that Mars. So yeah, it's a trine, should be hopeful. But as Donna said, I think it works best if you can actually put it to some constructive use. This isn't a productive aspect to be having when you're, on a girls' weekend necessarily, but it's good for you know, working hard. Yeah.
And Saturn's in domicile, still
Yes.
retrograde.
Yeah,
And domicile means it's in its own home sign. So
yeah, yeah.
Saturn's
Um,
going to have that stability, but
yeah. And because Saturn's retrograde, they're kind of moving further apart than they normally would. So because they're not both going in forward motion, you know, Mars is going to go forward, Saturn's going to go backwards. So they're gonna, meet up and then kind of keep going their separate ways.
well, Mars is in its shadow period.
Yeah, that's a point.
So, and I'm seeing that this is not going to be the first time. You might want to jot down what happens on the 28th
Hmm.
because that very well might have something to do with when they meet up again, because Mars is going to go retrograde when it gets to the end of Gemini and it's going to go back to that 8 degrees that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I
So I'm
think,
thinking that this might be a pendulum swing where it hits it the first time and then they go on and do whatever they want to do, and then Mars is going to come back and hit it again. So, and then Mars is going to come back and hit it again, and when it goes direct. So, I'd be curious about what's going to go on this day.
yeah, well, Mars retrogrades around about the end of October. So that'll be interesting. I think by the time that they do meet up again, Saturn's going to be direct and Mars is going to be retrograde. So that'll be interesting because Mars will still
Yes,
be in a
because they're going to
superior
have different energies to
position.
bring to the same situation.
Mm. Mars won't be as happy to work with Saturn at that time, I don't think.
But on the 28th, it's going to give you a clue of what's going to happen when they meet again.
Yeah, good point.
Because that's the whole purpose of these retrogrades is to have you aware of it
Yeah,
and
backtrack,
then
go
fix it.
over old ground, review
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So moving on, we have a better aspect the following day, the 29th, when Venus moves into her own sign of Libra.
Yeah,
That is screaming nice.
that is nice. Yes. Libra is ruled by Venus, so Venus is very comfortable here. She is combust at this time, though, but she's in her own sign, so some people say she's not as harmed. So a planet in its own sign combust is not as bad as if it wasn't in its own sign. But still, we can't see her because the sun's too bright. And she's moving up to her Cazimi. She's going to uh, eventually overtake and, well, first she's going to join up with the sun and then overtake it, which will set the whole new cycle. I was thinking it was going to be in this video, but it must be the next one. It must be early on in the
It
next one.
happens. It
It'll happen.
happens October 22nd.
Oh, okay. And what does this one go up to? The 16th?
The
Oh, no,
ninth.
no, no.
So yeah, that is a nice. It's Venus is love, is beauty, is in Venus in Libra is the social aspect.
Yeah.
Um, the let's talk it over. What is your idea? I want to bring you into, and in Libra is just that gathering type of energy that wants people to be heard. It's the social aspect of Venus, whereas the Taurus Venus is more the beauty, the what feels good, what tastes good, what smells good,
The
um
sensual,
the more
tactile.
the
Mm,
tactile,
yeah.
where this Venus in Libra is more of the social animal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of Librans get accused of being indecisive too, because they're trying to, make sure that everybody's accommodated. So, but yeah, so
And
wherever Libra is in your chart, your natal chart, Venus is the lesser benefic. It moves quicker than Jupiter, so Jupiter, when it's kind of making an aspect to a planet, it's usually there for a longer time than Venus would be if it was making an aspect to the same planet. So Venus is a lesser benefic, doesn't mean it's any less good. And if you're a night chart born, between dusk and dawn, it's your very lucky planet, your benefic of sect. So
Right.
whatever house it's in, it might bring good luck to you. So in this chart, you can see it's in the 8th house, but that's just coincidental because we're just looking at it here. So yeah, in a case like that, if you were a Pisces ascendant, for example, it would be bringing good luck perhaps through a partner's, finances, or it could be inheritance, or, maybe a loan gets approved at that time. But yeah, Venus and Jupiter, wherever they are, usually kind of bring some sort of good luck or benefit.
So that is definitely a definite day to look forward to. That's going to happen the last Thursday here
Mhm,
of September. So yeah, very nice. I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
mhm.
And this next one, not a bad aspect either.
Yeah, I think this can be sometimes, though, a little bit too much of a good thing. This is kind of like you've had a really, really good time, but now you've got the hangover. It can be, and that Jupiter can just go a little bit too far sometimes. Venus is in Libra. She's having a very good time. She's enjoying herself. I don't think she's quite as indulgent as she is in Taurus, but she still likes to enjoy herself. Yeah. And Jupiter in Aries, yeah, you're going to push yourself. So have a good time, but yeah, stock up on headache tablets, maybe.
If Jupiter was not in Aries and not in retrograde, this would be a great aspect, to do something to start off with a healing modality of whatever you want to do. If you want to, this might be a time where you are thinking of like taking up like lifting weights or just doing something, for your health. That challenge, the reason that the reason that this aspect is challenging is because it's in opposition. And when opposition, I tend to think of it as two toddlers over a coffee table where they both pop up and see each other and go, oh, who's going to get that cookie in the middle of the table first? It's like, which one? So it's like it's kind of like they're recognizing each other. And when Jupiter is positioned in Aries, Venus is like, yeah, you're not all that now. You're not as, I'm not as confident of what your actions are going to be because you are retrograde. And that's the only reason. But it is a typically, I mean, you have the both benefics, squaring each other. It's like, who can, I don't know, are they going to try to outdo each other? Probably not. But it's a good aspect still.
Mm-hmm. I know we're talking about benefics. I just tend to think, yeah, sometimes it's just a little bit too much of a good thing. Very easy to go overboard.
Well, yeah, Jupiter is heading towards that Neptune.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And Neptune is that escapism and whatever you use for escape. Some people sleep, too much. Some people, do alcohol and drugs. Some people, write too much. Some people just like to be alone too much. Some people like just, you know, it that escapism with that Jupiter could backfire. It'd be worth keeping an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I don't know where Jupiter's going to retrograde too. I don't think it's going to go all the way back to Neptune, but
No, I don't think it goes
anyways, but
that
they are
far
the
back.
two benefic planets and they are aspecting each other. Hopefully, if they're behaving, it's going to be a nice result.
Mhm. Yeah.
Not maybe what you expect, and it could be a little bigger. The Venus will stay course, and the Jupiter could be the one that's the monkey in the, you know, or the fly in the ointment, whatever.
Yeah. Aha. And then we've got Mercury stationing direct. Oh, opposite Neptune. Or more or less opposite Neptune.
We are within that 1 degree. So
Mm,
yeah,
interesting.
definitely in aspect with that Neptune.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's going to now start covering that ground that back in September, it was, I think it's September 9th, it went retrograde.
Yeah, I think you're
All
right.
that ground that it has been going over, it's now revisiting all those issues that, also all those bumps that you said, oh, it was Mercury retrograde. So go back over those bumps and find out what was going on. And is the situation better? Has it rectified itself? Has it worked itself out?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking. That sun at 9 Libra. I think Mercury retrograded at 8 Libra because it was like 8 again because we had all those eights. So uh, Mercury will still be in that shadow period up until about the 16th of October. So you might get through the Mercury retrograde. You might think, fantastic, I can go full steam ahead on everything. And, usually you can, but sometimes until we pass where it was when it first started retrograding, sometimes, I've been caught out in the retro shadow period, got all the way through and then bang. So you could expect some snafus up until about the 16th. Not for everybody, but for, some people, there will still be issues.
If you didn't correct them the first time,
Mm,
it will correct this on the last time for sure.
yeah.
That's what they do. So if you are not going in the direction that you were meant to go in, these help you move into closer to what you are supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And I think particularly with this Mercury stationing opposite or very close to opposite Neptune, yeah, a lot of people are kind of like, okay, Mercury station direct, I can go and do this and do that. That Mercury opposition Neptune at any time is kind of like a time of fuzzy thinking. Yeah, so I wouldn't be so quick off the mark at this time to rush into something.
You happen to notice when Mercury is stationing direct that at that time that the moon and the sun are going to be close to that 8-degree mark?
Yeah, I noticed that and I was just kind of like, oh, I hadn't noticed the moon, but I hadn't noticed um the sun because that's about very close to where it was when it's stationed. But yeah, so they're going to be square. Oh, interesting.
Which would, you might not have a lot of energy that day, but that would be the only thing. Um,
Yeah,
and then,
it'll be interesting.
yeah, on October 6th is Mercury trining Pluto. And we've discussed this before, but we
Hmm.
discussed this when Mercury was going retrograde.
Hmm.
Now it's going direct. So whatever was the issue with the communication, the detail, the, either commerce, your money, something like that on those lines, it should be made clearer on today. So when that Mercury Pluto was retrograde on the 27th and they were aspecting on the 6th might give you what it was all about.
Yeah, you might have some clarity at this time, perhaps. It's interesting that Pluto will be getting ready to station direct within a couple of days of this as well. So, I mean, Pluto's a very slow-moving planet, but any planet when it's stationing gets quite slow, it seems to stand still. So, yeah, but Mercury will be in really good condition. It's in its own sign, it's exalted, it's direct. So, quite powerful, transformative thinking, hopefully, and maybe some answers to what was happening. What was the date that first one was? The 27th, maybe 9, 10 days afterwards. So 9, 10 days
Yep.
prior, there might have been an issue. Maybe there's an answer at this stage or some understanding.
I'm gonna have to get like a little pen and like a stamp, like make sure you journal on this day, this day, this day, and that day.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, because 2 more days later, Pluto goes direct. So whatever that issue was, you got both planets that on the 27th, both planets now are direct.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the outer planets, a lot of people think that they don't impact you. I think they do or can. I think they have the capability. They're more generational planets, and everybody, who was born in 20-year time span is
Mm,
going to have that same Pluto aspect.
mm,
So it's everybody your age is going to have the same exact aspect. But I do think that it does have a lot of personal implications as far as Pluto is concerned, even though it's an outer planet. And I think it has a lot of mundane implications as well.
yeah, as you said, they're generational. So, like, I'm what, Pluto in Virgo. So, people within I don't know, maybe a 14-year span all have Pluto in Virgo. But I mean, some people have Pluto in Virgo conjunct their sun, some have it conjunct their moon, some have it opposite their Mercury. So that's going to flavor it for those different people. Some people won't kind of have much of a connection to it at all. And then if Pluto transiting Pluto is actually making an aspect to one of your planets, particularly one of the inner planets, like Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, you're going to feel it more than others. So yeah, they definitely can have impact. I don't, and I don't believe you do use them as rulers. I mean, we use Saturn for Aquarius and Mars for
Capricorn.
Scorpio and Jupiter for Pisces. But we've got a mutual friend that kind of described the outer planets as being similar to like almost absent. Like if you consider like a ruler, like a father, let's take Aquarius, for example, you could have, say, Saturn is the father, or the ruler traditionally. And like in the modern parlance, modern astrology, they consider Uranus the ruler. And you could kind of consider like Uranus, it's like the birth father, but he's distant, he's far away, he's too far to have any real influence on the life. Yes, he's got bits and pieces, and he might come into the picture occasionally and kind of drop in and do something, but he's not like the person who's been the father figure and actually been there and done the raising and all that sort of stuff. Or it made sense when she said it.
Good
It,
analogy. No, it's a good analogy. It's kind of like it's kind of there, but and they do exert influence, but
well, they're so
they're
far
not the
out
hands-on.
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're so far
like
out.
Saturn, which was the furthest planet that the ancients used, has what, a 28-year cycle. I'm trying to think what Uranus has, an 84-year cycle. Neptune's 165 years and Pluto's 248. I mean, they're so far out, you know. And I mean, they're not really visible. I mean, Uranus,
No,
apparently, sometimes you could see it with the naked eye, but not enough
Neptune.
that they were aware that there was another planet out there till I think the 1800s.
So then that is all of the aspects that we have so far. The full moon in Aries will be happening on the 9th.
The ninth, the full moon in Aries. Let's have a look. Okay, so about 1632.
And there we have it.
Where's
So,
Mars? Okay, full moon in Aries. That'll be interesting.
yes, it will be. Those are the aspects. So Linda, where can people reach you?
I'm at Scullywag
And what are
Astrology.
you doing?
What am I doing? I am doing natal readings, I'm doing relationship readings and year ahead readings. And you can find me at astrology.scullywag.com. And yeah, I'm on Facebook and Twitter and all over the place. And what about you, Donna? Where are you and what are you doing?
You can find me. I have a website at donnabastrology.com, and I am doing natal readings and year ahead readings, as well as electional and horary readings. Yep.
Mhm.
And I work with crystals as well.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Yes. Well,
So
thank you for listening. So please like and subscribe or share or comment. We like comments, don't we, Donna?
We do. We like that interacting with you and if finding out, what you might be interested in. So please leave a comment if you feel
Mhm.
inclined.
Yeah, and if you've kind of been listening to this and you think, oh my God, I'm never going to remember that, just remember on our Facebook page and YouTube and usually Instagram, we cut them up and kind of post them closer to the actual time that they'll be happening. So thank you once again.
Linda
And
does, and she does a wonderful job.
oh, thank you. Okay, so thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time, hopefully. Bye.
Bye.